Hi everyone, welcome back. So I'm back from DCon last weekend, and I just wanted to say I had such a great time. Also, meeting everyone there, meeting the team, meeting the other community members and other YouTubers. It was really great to see the community come together like that, and also the kind of vibes that the community had there. Yeah, it was really awesome. Also, thank you everyone who's watching my content, who came up to me and said hello. I really appreciated that. Yeah, so all in all, absolutely a great event. I had a really great time. Yeah, and it gave me a lot of confidence again, seeing the community like coming together like that, partying together, having a great time together, and also the team, how they interacted with the community and all that. So yeah, I hope that they will do more events like that in Europe, because I don't know when I will get the chance to travel to the States, and hope to see some more of you maybe in some future events. By the way, if you hear some weird music in the background or some noises, it's because they're having like a street event right in the street next to me. So yeah, might be possible that you hear some music. Okay, but the topic of today is actually the drop we had on Friday, the Golden Moments finale. So who expected that? I mean, okay, on DCon they were hinting or saying that they were going to kind of close one of the collections, and a lot of people were already suspecting that it would be the Golden Moments, which kind of made sense. But yeah, what a drop! Like something that we really haven't seen before, like the kind of utility we get, the kind of wishes, getting an airdrop, and then also a promo code for another drop. So they're really playing around with their options here, and I think we all got really excited by that drop. Of course, at the moment it's also kind of a big topic of discussion and debate. We might get to it later in the video, but what I always like to do with this kind of big drops is to go and analyze and look a bit at the data, who participated, who traded, who flipped, and get a feeling of the numbers for that drop. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the analysis is very similar to the one that I did for the Amazing Fantasy comic drop. To identify the tokens of the drop is getting harder every time, because we have a lot of drops that didn't sell out and people can still mint that. So as you can see, the total number of tokens that were minted from the start of the drop, it's 3 p.m. UTC until 40 minutes afterwards, where most of the collectibles got distributed. I found 9,920. And the total amount that was available after the items that Veve and Disney keep for themselves were 9,910, if I'm not mistaken. So there are 10 items here that were minted during that time, which are not the lamp. Yeah, we always have that kind of issue until we get the metadata, hopefully soon. But yeah, it's 10 out of 9,920, so we can still work with these numbers. So the next I always want to look is how many old wallets and how many new wallets got lucky on the drop. And I have to change that. This is still from the Amazing Fantasy drop. What I looked at is old wallets are all wallets that already were active in the app, meaning active, already made a purchase or a trade before the 7th of September, which was when the drop was announced. And new wallets would be all the wallets that had their first purchase or mint after last Wednesday, so after the 7th of September. So we see like the vast majority, 98% of the wallets were old wallets that got the drop. I mean, that's not surprising. Currently, we don't get that many new wallets or active wallets per day. So the next thing I want to look at is, okay, so how many wallets in total, different wallets, were trading in the secondary market after the drop? We know that with this drop, we have a huge debate that it was kind of a gift for flippers and like a paradise for flippers, because you actually didn't have to hold the item, like the lamp, to get the airdrop and the promo code. It was just like if you were able to mint, or if you were the one lucky to get the lamp on the drop, then you were given the airdrop of the Disney D and also the promo code, which we're not sure how it's going to look like with the promo code yet. So actually there was no real incentive to hold the lamp in your wallet, and you were able to kind of flip it right after the drop. And yeah, what I saw was that there was a total of 3,620 different wallets active on the secondary market. So however, this is not only the wallets that were able to mint, but also wallets that didn't get lucky on the drop and then wanted to purchase or trade the lamp on the secondary market. So if we distinguish between those wallets, then we see that roughly 2,000 of the wallets that minted later traded on the secondary market, either sold or maybe purchased a second or third one. And 1,564 were wallets that did not get lucky on the drop and then traded on the secondary market. So maybe bought one on the secondary market and so on. So I know that, there's a huge debate that this drop was mainly for flippers and most people. And people have the feeling that, most people kind of flipped the lamp. But just looking at the numbers, like 2,000 wallets from 9,920, that's a bit more than 20%, were actually the wallets that flipped in the aftermarket of those that got the lamp on the drop. And that's 20%. That might seem a lot for some, but I think on the other side it means that 80% of people that that got a lamp on the drop, they held on to it and didn't sell it. So those are people that are looking to hold either long term or which are real collectors and really wanted that lamp. Although I have the feeling that most of them are also flippers, but because they have a longer time horizon, we can call them investors. But actually for me it's kind of, if we're honest, it's more or less kind of the same. We have a lot of people arguing that these kind of drops or these kind of incentives, they are not for collectors, and Veve is supposed to be a collector's app. But if we're being honest, like even if they're going to be, like even if they call themselves a collector's app, like in the world of collecting, you will always have the real collectors who are in it for the brand, the IP, and really want to collect the stuff and just enjoy having it. Then you will have traders, and then you will have flippers who just are in it for the quick bucks. I mean, you will find that anywhere. I think look at the Pokemon trading card game. So Pokemon is a trading card game. So you will naturally think that the goal is, or the intention of the Pokemon cards is for people to play the game and also to trade cards. Now you have people that started to collect certain cards, so the value of cards increased. So now you get interest of investors and also of flippers. And actually this sucks for people who are really actively playing the game, because like you want to play the game, you want to have a good card maybe for your deck, but these cards now, because you have collectors and investors and flippers, like the value gets really high. So you will always have that, like the intention of a certain app or game, or in this case or collection is one, but you will always like cater to different interest groups. That's just my opinion. So I really don't see the issue, especially like if I would have seen here that like 50% or more than 50% of the people just sold the lamp and tossed it away, then I would be kind of worried, because then I would think, okay, so we really only have people in here interested in quick gains. But it's not the case. Veve are still kind of testing their grounds with introducing these kind of utilities, and they are also, like they said that several times on the decon, that they are still also learning and experimenting and see what works with the community, like the feedback they get from the community, and see what works, what does not work. They're still testing stuff out, so we're still at the beginning. They might see, okay, this kind of drop and this kind of like utility might not work well in the future, or might not work well at the moment with the current market conditions, but we'll see. Just throwing in here my opinion, my thoughts on that topic. But let's return to our data and see what else we got. So what I also really like to look at is, from all those wallets that participated, minting and also trading in the secondary market, how old are these wallets? So from which cohort are these wallets? And when I say cohort, it's just a term how you define where you group users by a specific time period. So here we're grouping the users by the months when they had their first activity in the app, meaning when they had the first. And it's no surprise to see that the most of the wallets that were active during this drop were from the December 2021 cohort. So these are all the wallets that came into the app before the IMX migration, because that's when I start to get my data. And all those wallets that came into the app before December 15th last year, they all migrated in one batch. So basically their first activity date on the blockchain is December 15th. So this is just the only exception, this December cohort. And then the other cohorts would be like all the users that had their first activity, in this case in January this year. And this last one would be the cohort that had their first activity this September. And yeah, as I said, no surprise to see that the most of the wallets engaging with this drop were actually the early users that were already here since last year. Because of all the wallets that are still active today, I think it's more than 60% that are actually from those cohorts. So that's kind of our core user base that is the most active right now. It's also the biggest cohort. So yeah, here I look at the same data, but just I only look at the wallets that actually got something on the drop. So here, we want to see, okay, so did the drop go to bots that kind of came in the past week, or did it actually go to real users? So so then if we look, even if you think that all the users that came in during the last months were bots, that would only had been 2% of all the wallets that actually got lucky on the drop. Yeah, so next I look at the net token balance or net accumulation. So what I look at here is after a whole day of trading, or it's a bit more than a whole day because it's data until the end of yesterday. After the whole minting, buying and selling, what are the wallets still holding? So these are all wallets that at one point in time held a lamp, and at the end of yesterday, these is the number of wallets that sold all their lamps, so they are not holding any lamp. Basically, they flipped. They either got the drop and sold immediately, or they purchased something on the floor maybe, and then later flipped it again. And so that's 17%. So it's more or less in line with the 20% that we saw of wallets that hit the drop and then were trading afterwards. And again, we see the 80% that actually held onto their lamp or purchased one and still holding one. And then we see 276 wallets that accumulated between 2 and 5 of those lamps and are still holding. And then we have 7 wallets that accumulated between 5 and 10. And we have 1 wallet that has something between 10 and 25 of those lamps. Yeah, next I just look at the net accumulation, but by our cohorts. So we want to see, okay, which are the users that are kind of flipping the most, and which are the users that are holding or accumulating the most. And similar to the Amazing Fantasy drop, we see that the older cohort is actually the ones where we have our wallets or users that are accumulating, while in the newer cohorts we actually see more people, like the percentage of people is higher that kind of flip. So here you see it better because here I do a percentage, row-wise percentage. So we see from the December cohort only 13% flipped their lamp, while 83% are still holding at least one or more. And when we look at the newer cohorts, we see that the percentage for those that flipped is much higher versus the ones that are still holding. But still, like the majority of the people from the September cohort are still holding at least one, and 47% were flipping. So it's a bit half-half. And I think it can be very quick to judge on the new people that get in, or we can say that these are probably maybe bots or something, because of course bots still find a way to get around current KYC implementation and all that. So I'm not saying that we got rid of bots or whatsoever, although I think the proportion of bots to the overall user base is much lower than what we saw in the beginning of the year. So yeah, we still have bots, not so many. But yeah, seeing those numbers, even like despite having some bots, which I don't think are half of the users that came in September. But we just have to keep in mind like the market conditions those people come in versus the market conditions that the people were in that came last year. So the people that came in last year, there were a lot of people that kind of traded their way up to kind of accumulate gems and now have stacked a lot of gems or surplus gems that they can now kind of trade with, so like kind of house money they have. While people that come in now, they encounter a market condition where basically the majority of drops they sell below retail price afterwards, and there are only a few key drops like the Amazing Fantasy, like this one now, where you know they have a chance to sell the item for surplus in the aftermarket. And I kind of understand those people who want to take advantage of it, because they maybe want to have the ability to collect, like to grow their collection, but maybe, especially like also considering the overall market conditions, they don't have like the funds or the money they want to put in. So they try to flip or trade their way up to have more liquidity in the app. Yeah, so I don't necessarily want to judge on the flippers. As we see, it's basically maybe 20% of our current user base. So I don't think it's so worrisome. And yeah, that's just my opinion on it. I think Veve will experiment a lot more these kind of airdrops and utilities, and we'll see a lot more of them. This is just the first taste of what is possible and what is still to come. Just see it as kind of gamification to the app, and don't take everything so serious. Of course, I didn't land a drop, so I was sad about it because it's a missed opportunity maybe, but we will get more opportunities, we will get more amazing drops in the future. So yeah, I think people just need to relax a bit. So yeah, let me know what's your opinion on it. What do you think also after seeing these numbers? Yeah, leave a comment down below. Also, if you like this video, leave a like. I always appreciate that. It's one way to support my channel. Another way is to buy me a coffee via my Ko-fi account. The link is also in the video description. Yeah, I also leave this document, the link to the document, in the video description. If you want to play around with it, look at the numbers, like the raw data, you can see here also with the wallet addresses. And that's all I wanted to show and share with you today. And see you next time, and have a great rest of your weekend.